So hi all, welcome to the part 2 series for pandas, and today I'll be discussing about the second data type, that is data frames in pandas. So this is really the most commonly used data structure in pandas. Whenever we load the our pandas library in Python, we mostly like load the data set using data frames. Okay, so since it is really like very fast and easy access, we have with the help of data frames. And data frames, it's a like a two-dimensional tabular data structure. Okay, so wherein like we can load, read any format of files, like mostly like the CSV files, text files, we can easily load with the help of data frames. Okay, and the data set like stores into this data frames, and then we can perform the operations like data manipulation, or just reading the data set, or even dropping and creating the new columns as well. Okay, and even we do a lot of like data transformation using these data frames. So this was an intro. I've already written few of the things about data frames, as you can see on my screen. So what it is, like it is the most commonly used data structures to load, read and manipulate the data. Like in machine learning, we use a lot of times the data frames. Okay, data frames are mostly the two-dimensional. That means it will have rows and columns both, and it will have a tabular structure. Okay, so just be with me. I will show you the real world example that how we are loading the data set and reading the .csv file, just for, as an example. Okay, so how do we create a data frame? We use the method that is pd.dataframe. Okay, so this is we use how to create a data frame. Okay, so its size is also mutable, and the shape and size can be changed accordingly. Okay, so we have certain methods using which we can change the shape and size of data frames. That's why this is most commonly used data structure in pandas. Okay, so what is the syntax for that? Syntax is pandas dot data frame, and we have like here I have shown you three most common attributes which we can pass, and that are data, that is the what is the data set you want to like insert, or you want to create the data frame, the indexes and the columns, that is the column names. Okay, so the first example I'm showing over you here is creating an empty data frame. Okay, so just an empty data frame is you don't need to pass any data set, and you can just easily create with the help of just nothing you have to insert or pass into the parenthesis. Importing pandas as PD, PD is the alias name. Okay, so it is like just a shorter version you can use, and instead of typing the whole pandas, okay, keyword. So import pandas as PD, and then this PD you can write in the entire structure of like the next code pieces. You can write the alias name, that is PD. Okay, so df is equal to PD dot data frame. So this way you can create a data frame. Okay, so data frame inside this parenthesis. Suppose you want to load some data set, you will be mentioning inside this parenthesis. Okay, and just you need to then do a print, uh, and in parenthesis you will be printing the data frame, that is df is the variable associated with the data frame. So here what I'm doing, I'm just doing a shift enter, and we have created a empty data frame which has no values, no columns and no rows. Okay, that's why it is showing columns blank and indexes also as blank. Now this is our second example. I'm creating a data frame from list. Okay, so I have here used like a two-dimensional list which has like two columns and three set of rows. Okay, so Aman and 10, they're like it's just their name and age of three students. Okay, so this is a list which is a two-dimensional, since you can see two square brackets are there. Okay, and this is our df is our data frame variable. Okay, by which we'll be accessing and getting the values. Okay, so df is equal to pd dot data frame. Okay, and here what we have passed the data set, that is here we are like loading a data set with the help of and creating a data frame with the help of list. Okay, so this is our list variable, and we have used over here. The second we are attribute we are passing explicitly is columns. So columns means the name of the columns over here. So columns is the attribute. So in columns, name and age. So these are two columns, name and age, and we are just doing a shift enter. So you can see these are the name, Aman, age 10, like this, and these are the indexes. Okay, so here also, if you want to explicitly see, you can even explicitly here also in this data frames also you can explicitly mention the indexes as well. Okay. Okay, so this was one example of creating a data frame with the help of list. Okay, second is creating a data frame from dictionary. So dictionary I've already explained before in my previous lectures. Here the data stores in the form of key value pairs. So here first key is name, which has 4 values, and the second key is age, which has also 4 values. Okay, name and age are the keys, and Aman, Bhuvan, Carry, Akash, and here these are all the 4 values. Okay, so with the help of this list variable, I am just passing the list variable in the as a data set, and p.data frame is the notation, is the method with the help of which you can create a data frame. That is a new data frame. Okay, just simply do a print df. Okay, 1 minute. Yes, shift enter. Okay, so here you can see with the help of list, it has printed and given us this Aman 28, Bhuvan 27, Carry 29, Akash 22. Okay, these are the values, and this with the help of dictionary we have created the data frame. Okay, so this was our second example. So now the next example is a data set which I have downloaded, which is available online. It is the like income prediction data set, where I'm just showing you the data set over here. So with the help of this pd.read.csv, read CSV is a method using which you can read the CSV files which you have stored. Here I have stored in my desktop. Okay, in my desktop I have stored this CSV file, and this is available online. So even if you want, you can download online, or even I will provide you in my description also this data set. Okay, the link to the data set I will provide in my description. Okay, so df is equal to pd.read.csv, then the path name where the data set is stored. You have to write the full name, path name, along with the file name also. Okay, so then you can just do a df and you will get this output. Okay, so this is our data set where the columns are like, one is the position column, one is the level column. Okay, that means the business analyst one is at level 1, and the CEO is at level 10, and these are their respective salaries. Okay, so these are, I will have almost 14 rows. Okay, so this is how we load the data set in the data frame. Okay, using with the help of read underscore CSV method. Okay, so this is how we read the data set. Now coming on to how we explicitly select, and we do a selection and indexing from data frames. Okay, so here what we have done is our data set variable is df. Okay, so if we want to fetch a particular column, within the square brackets we'll mention that column name, and that will be fetched out. Okay, so if I do a shift enter, okay, it is taking to the next cell, no issues. But here you can see when I have executed df salary, it has given and printed all the set of salary values only. Okay, only the salary. And suppose, see, there is one method like using this df, and with the help of square brackets, even there is one another method also. If you have, I'll be just uncommenting this, and even with the dot notation also you can extract a particular column from like the data set. So df dot position, if you just mention without any inverted commas, without any quotes, that will also fetch the that particular column. So df dot position, if you enter, you can see now that has given us all the positions, that is 0 to 13 rows, business analyst 1, analyst 2. So it has listed the all the positions. So this was how we select a particular column from the entire data set. So there are two notations. I will not recommend this one. Mostly I like, we generally in our coding practices, we like deal with this type of notation, that is used with the help of square brackets and column names. Okay. Okay, so this is one way. Okay, now coming on to creating a new column with the help of data frame. How do we create a new column? So we generally create, suppose here I am going to create a new column, that is annual bonus which needs to be given. So suppose for an employee, 10% is of the annual bonus of the salary. What is the salary column? The 10% of it will be the annual bonus, which will be given at the last quarter. Okay. So I have created a column DF annual bonus. So this is the way you will be writing and creating a new column, and you just do a simple math on this. The 10% means what? That is 10 upon 100 into that salary, and 10 upon 100 into salary means 0 will be cancelled. That is salary by 10. So here I have just, that's why I have divided by 10 to calculate the 10% of the salary, which will be assigned to the our new column, that is annual bonus. Okay. So DF annual bonus, and we have divided the salary values by 10. And now we will see what happens if we just do a shift enter. So you can see we have already got the new column, that is annual bonus. Before there was no new column. Now we have created the column annual bonus, and you can see it is exactly the 10% of the salary column. Okay. Okay. So here you can see what is NaN. That is not available number. Okay. Or you can say not a number. Okay. So that means this is a missing data. Okay. So for suppose one CEO, that is the 13th index CEO, we don't have the salary present. So here I will also show you how to handle the missing data also. Okay, so just be with me. So this was one way how to create a new column. Okay, we have created. So suppose if I write over here, 1 minute. Okay, I will comment first this, and I will show you one thing. Okay, yeah. So now I will show you that. Okay, yes. So now I will show you how, suppose that was one way of creating the new column. That is, we have created a new column. This was the way. Okay. Now I will show you how to drop that column. I will just simply drop that column only. What we have created, that is the annual bonus. So df.drop is the method to do and drop the particular column. So here I have df.drop, and we have mentioned the column name within the single quotes, and axis is equal to 1. So axis equal to 1 means the columns, and axis equal to 0 means the particular rows. Okay. So axis is equal to 0 means the rows. Okay. And axis equal to 1 means the columns. Okay. So here, if I do a df.drop and I do a shift enter, you can see the column has gone. That is the annual bonus has now gone. Okay. And see, if I print a DF over here, again it came back, that is annual bonus. So if I'm trying to do a DF, again it is coming back. Okay. So once again I will show you. See, once I am doing a df.drop, it has dropped and removed the annual bonus column, but it has not committed the changes. So if you want to commit the changes, that means for your original dataset, if you want to commit the changes, you need to mention an explicit attribute in our method, in our when where we are passing our column names. We need to mention in place equals to true. So once if you mention in place equals to true, that will commit the changes. Okay. So I already showed you that when we were trying to print the DF, it was already showing us annual bonus, though we have already dropped the annual bonus column. So now if I do a shift enter, and if I print DF now, okay. So why? Because it is showing now, because it has, we have already dropped, right? So if I do now comment, and if I see now whether it has, you can see our annual bonus column has now dropped. So this was the difference between, like the changes won't be committed if you are not mentioning in place equals to true. That's why I showed you this example. Okay. So I hope you are clear with this part. And now I will be showing you one more data, that is how to drop a particular row. Suppose we don't want to like we don't want the 8th index, that is region manager. Okay. So here what will be mentioning, as I mentioned that for rows dropping we need axis equals to 0. Okay. So if I do over here, okay, 1 minute, it is just printing this. You can see the our 8th index, that is the region manager, dropped away after 7. Now it came 9th only. Okay. So for dropping the row, you need to mention after df.drop that particular index. That is that is the index which has been assigned. So here it was like for region, it has, I will show you once again, 1 minute. So for eighth index, region manager was the position. Okay. So if you want to drop, you need to mention the index, that is the index at the first place, that is attribute, and then the axis equals to 0. With the help of that, you can actually drop the row also, okay, using df.drop. So you can see now the eighth index has been dropped. That means the eighth row, that means the ninth row. Why? Because the index is starting from 0. So the ninth row has been dropped. Okay, with the help of axis equals to 0. But here also, if you won't be mentioning in place equals to true, it will not, it will just show you over here. But again, if you try to print df, it will show you the eighth region manager row. So for committing the changes, that means if you want the changes to be permanent, you need to mention in place equals to true. Okay. So now coming on to selecting the rows, how we select the rows. Okay. So with the help of a square notation, df.loc, that means the location method. df.locate, you can say. So square brackets 1 is to 5. So what it will show, 1 colon 5. It will show us the result from starting from 1 minute. I will show you over here. It is starting from first index to the fifth index. Okay. So it will show you all the 5 rows what you have mentioned. Okay. So this was one way to like fetch the data, the subset of rows. Okay. If you want to select certain rows only from the entire data set, this is one way. So df.loc, and you need to mention the indexes. Okay. The other method is also, there is also one more method. Here see, it has included 1 and even 5 also. But if you mention over here df.ilocate, so it will then assume the indexes, and then it will only show the values from 1 to 4th index. I will show you over here. This also, generally persons use df.ilocate also. So here you can see there is a difference between df.iloc and df.loc. Okay. So here with the iloc, it will assume that you are mentioning the indexes. Okay. And it has shown you these many first to 4 rows only, fifth is included. And if you just mention df.log, then it will consider the rows. The first row, here also the rows will be starting from 0, but the first row, that will be, the first row would be starting from business analyst 2. Okay, so business analyst 2 will be the first row for this method, that is df.log. Okay, so this was one way to fetch the particular set of rows. The other way is, I'm just commenting this part, and I will try to show you this also. Here we are further subsetting the data, that okay, for the second row you need to fetch the position, only the position. Okay, so if I do this, let's see what happens. Junior consultant 1. Okay, so for second row, okay, that is for second row, it has given us junior consultant 1. So junior consultant 1 is the position. So here we have further substituted the our result set, and here only we have captured the position from the second row. Okay, so I hope you are clear with this df.loc method and df.iloc method. So you need to practice on your own, and you firstly load the data and check from your own that okay, that how we are subsetting the rows. This will only come with the help of practice. Okay, so this is the second, this is our third example where we are doing the conditional selection. Okay, so conditional selection, okay, we have our entire data set, and if we need to filter some of the rows, that means here we have taken an example where salary is greater than or equal to 75,000 rupees. Suppose where here we have the salary of an employee, where we need to fetch all the rows. A scenario is given to you where you need to fetch all the records of the data where the salary is greater than equal to 75,000 rupees. So how do you will be doing that? Here what we have done is firstly DF salary. So what will be DF salary will be fetching? I've already shown you. It will be listing out all the salaries. And what you are now doing, you are trying to filter that list with the help of greater than or equal to 75,000. Okay, so here now it will show all the salaries which are greater than or equal to 75,000. Okay, and for those all salaries, you are now capturing the DF, that is the entire data set. So if you do a shift enter, you can see that okay, all the values are now given to you, where the salary is greater than, all the rows are fetched from the data set where the salary is greater than or equal to 75,000. Okay, this was one way. And if you want to just particularly explicitly you want only the levels, suppose if you only want the levels, so it will only list out the levels. So here you are further you are filtering with the help of only level column to fetch out. See, it has given from 4 to 10 levels. Okay, so this was the further conditional selection criteria. So using only if you need to like fetch the levels, okay, where the salary is greater than or equal to 75,000, or even if you want to mention here position, that will also work for you. You can see manager, country manager, these all employees have salary greater than or equal to 75,000. Okay, so this was the conditional selection example. Now coming on to like multiple conditions. Suppose there are multiple conditions to check and filter out the data. Then you can use AND operator and OR operator. So AND operator symbol is this ampersand sign, and this is our OR operator vertical bar. Okay, so here this will be like a first condition we have mentioned in our first parenthesis, that where salary is greater than or equal to 75,000, and I have also explicitly mentioned a level where it is checking that okay, level is also greater than or equal to 6. So this is our second condition. So both the condition you should mention inside two separate parentheses, and the join the conditional, that is the multiple conditions, in between them you will be keeping the AND operator or OR operator. Okay, so if you do over here shift enter, you will see that now it has firstly checked that okay, salary is greater than or equal to 75,000. Okay, and then it has also checked that okay, see, if I show you this example, I will comment this part. If I show you this example, we have salaries for greater than 75,000 even for our manager employee also, with 4-5 levels also. But here, when I have also filtered greater than or equal to 6, then it has just emitted out this 4 and 5 levels, and it has fetched the result from 6 to 10. So this is the with the help of AND operator. But if you use over here OR operator, we will get the same data set. Why? Because it will only check for that okay, if this condition is true or if this condition is true. That's why it is giving us the same data set. Okay, okay, so this was our multiple condition check. Okay, how we will be like on the basis of multiple conditions, how we will be filtering the our data. Okay, so this is our group by function, how we do a group by. So here I have shown you that okay, this I will be discussing afterwards. Okay, I will just do a print first of all, and I will just show you our data set, that is okay, what are our levels. So you can see at level 1 we have 2 employees, at level 2 also we have 2 employees, and at level 5 also we have 2 employees, and at level 10 also we have 2 employees. Okay, so if we do a group by, so group by means all will be passing one column based on what the grouping will work. So based on that only the grouping will work, and then it will aggregate. So suppose if you need to calculate for suppose one level, how many employees are there, or how many like what is the total salary disbursed, that is we are giving, how many, what is the total salary we are giving at that level. Okay, so that you can do with the help of this group by function. Okay, so that's why I've shown you this example. Now what I will show you is this with this R. I will uncomment this part, and we are doing a df dot group by with the help of this method. We are doing a group by for our column level, and what we are trying to do is we are trying to calculate the mean or average at all the levels. So you can see now it has shown for level 1 we are the average salary which we are giving is 46,500. For level 2 it is 51,000, and so on. Okay, and for level 10 you can see there was a missing data, so the average is not calculated, it is just showing like it's 10 lakhs. Okay, ideally it should not be the case. So that's why we get error if we have missing values. That's why we need to handle the missing values. Okay, so this was one way we're dealing and using the dot group by function. Even if you need to calculate, suppose you need to calculate the max, that okay, at particular level, what is the max salary which we're giving to the employee. Okay, so you can see for business analyst we had, you can business analyst we had our salaries 45,000 and 48,000, but here we have calculated the max salary. So the max salary we are getting is 48,000. For junior consultant 2 also we have the max salary, that is 52,000. Okay, so if you understand the data set very well, then only you will be able to do these type of functions. So here this was example of dot group by, and you need to pass at least one column to do a grouping. Okay, now this is another example where we are talking about the unique values. Okay, so if you do a df position dot unique, what does it mean? So what here it means is you're calculate, or you are trying to list out all the positions which are unique. Okay, so if you do a df position dot unique, what it will show us, it will show the list of positions that are there, are present in our data set, and they will be unique, there will be no duplicacy. Okay, so unique method will list out all the values in a, like it will not show the duplicates. Okay, and if suppose you want to see that, okay, there is one more method, that is n unique, what it will show, you can see n unique will actually count the number 13. There are 13 unique positions in our position column. Okay, so there are 13 unique positions. That is it will show as n unique. Okay, now what is this? There is one more method, that is value counts. Now what is value counts? Value counts shows that, okay, at df for level how many how many employees or how many persons are there at that level. Well, that will be shown with the help of value counts. So value underscore counts will show that, okay, at level, suppose at level 2 how many employees were there. So if I show you our data set, you can easily check that at level 2 2 employees, at level 1 also 2 employees, and at level 5 also 2 employees. So here that's why it is showing that, okay, at level 10 there were 2 employees, that is there were 2 CEOs at level 5. And see, for each and every level it is sorting in the descending order by default. We have not mentioned any like attribute, but then also it is sorting in descending order by default. Okay, so for level 10, for level 5 to, for level 5 and level 2, and for level 1 also there are 2 employees, and for rest of the remaining all the levels, that is 9 8 7 6 4 3, there were 1 employees. So that is the like use of value counts. It will show at like at particular at what column how many counts are there, how many counts are there. That will be shown with the help of value counts method. Okay, now as I like promised you, I have like shown, I'll be showing you the how we'll be handling the missing values. Okay, so this was our data set. I once again loaded the data set, the fresh, and we have this NAN. So if suppose here we are able to see, since it's a very short data set, so we are able to see. Okay, so if suppose there is a long data set, then how we'll be able to check that, okay, how many missing values are there. So there is this expression what you can write, and it will show for all the columns, and it will show the count at how many missing values are there for that particular column. So df dot is null. Is null will check that, okay, whether the nulls are present or not. I will show you this. So you can see here it is true. So it will show that, okay, for what all the rows and in what column, the it will show the like true. It will show the value as true for that row and for that column. Okay. So here if I write dot sum, then what will show? It will show the count. That means the number of missing values for that particular column. Since in our salary we had only like one, there was only one missing value. That's why it is showing for salary it is 1, and rest for position and level it is not showing. The count is 0. Okay. So then how do we like handle the null values? We have .df.fillNA method. So with the help of df.fillNA method, what we'll be writing over here inside this, our attribute is value, and what value you need to pass, you need to mention in that. So value is equal to df.salary.max. So here, see, we have our, we know that, okay, at level 10, we had a CEO, which he had already had a salary present. Okay, that salary was 10 lakhs. Okay, so that's why for this, what we are doing is df salary dot max. So that dot max, what it will do is, for this salary, it will firstly fetch out all the list of values for that salary column available. And what will be the max salary? It will just assign that value to this variable value. And what it will do is, it will explicitly pass this value to the null value. Wherever the null value will be present, that means the nan value will be present on that particular column, on that particular row, it will insert the value. And by using this way, that means that the df.fill na, it will, the missing data value will be handled. And in place is equals to true, I have already explained. With this, with the help of this, you can commit the changes. So now if you just execute this, and now if you see df, now our the last data set is containing the value, that is, it's now not the nan, now the value is present. So this was the data frames. I've like discussed most of the things which we do. And yes, if you would have some doubts, please post in the comment sections. And if you like the content, please hit like, share and subscribe my channel. Thank you.